The finale, Chapter 6 of Kenobi, has finally arrived, and there is a ton to get through in this last explosive episode, so let's get straight into it. We begin the episode on Tatooine when this guy here barges in to cut the line to get some water. This is the same character that we saw back in episode 1, exploiting the workers. We also find that Reva has arrived on Tatooine, intent on searching for Owen, and lining up to talk to the water vendor is a pretty smart move. Knowing that Owen is a moisture farmer, a vendor would have the best knowledge and contact with all the surrounding moisture farmers, so talking to him would be the easiest way to find out Owen's whereabouts. We cut back to the Star Destroyer chasing the rebels, and the whole scene really evokes a New Hope vibes, with the Devastator chasing down Tantive 4 and with Leia also aboard the ship. Roken tells the crew that they will be headed to the planet Tessin. Tessin seems to be an entirely new planet as there doesn't seem to be any available information on it. On board the ship, we get another shot of Corran Horn hanging out with Leia in the background, and throughout this show they have really been pushing the character. So who knows, we may get to see this character reappear later in another Star Wars story such as The Mandalorian when the character is all grown up. A brief return to Tatooine tells us that Owen has been warned about the third sister's arrival. Obi Wan decides to split from the group and Vader decides to pursue him instead of going after the rest of the rebels. The Grand Inquisitor says,
"My lord, we must continue our pursuit of the insurgents. We cannot prioritize one lone Jedi."
But Vader insists on going after Kenobi, again reiterating Obi-Wan's point about Anakin being blinded by his need for victory. Kenobi lands on an unnamed planet, quite possibly Tessin, and Vader follows him aboard the same ship he used in Return of the Jedi, a Lambda-class shuttle. As the two face off against each other, Vader says,
"Have you come to destroy me, Obi-Wan?"
And Kenobi responds with,
"I will do what I must."
Really just echoing their conversation on Mustafar in Revenge of the Sith.
"I will do what I must."
"You will try."
Before they engage, Kenobi strikes a very distinctive pose, and this is the same iconic pose that we saw when Kenobi faced off against Grievous and throughout the entire Clone Wars. Vader tells Kenobi,
"Then you will die."
A callback to another conversation Vader had with Ahsoka.
"I won't leave you. Not this time."
"Then you will die."
As the fight begins, if you pay close attention, you'll notice that Vader is using his lightsaber with two hands, more so when they first fought on Mapuzo, really just showing how strong Kenobi has become or recovered. Obi-Wan then tries to bring a pillar down on Vader, which is really similar to what Dooku tried to do in Attack of the Clones in order to make an escape, but Vader just pushes it away with ease and the duel continues. Vader punches Kenobi, much like how Anakin punched him on Mustafar. Vader then proceeds to smash the ground with the Force, and this is an ability that we have never seen Vader do before on screen, but it is an ability pretty iconic to Mace Windu. In Legends, Mace Windu did have a very similar Force power in which he could crack the ground with the Force. Obi-Wan falls into the pit created by Vader, and Vader stares down at him, now having the high ground. A stark contrast to the Mustafar situation. Except, unlike Anakin, Obi-Wan isn't so eager to rush up to fight Vader, and Vader is too impatient to wait, so he decides to bury his old master. And this act of burying Kenobi beneath all the rubble is really just symbolic of Vader trying to bury his past as Anakin, a constant theme that has been continued throughout the entire show, which is all about getting over your past. Back on Tatooine, Owen fights a weakened Reva. This really explains how he's able to last this long, and at one point in the fight, he even tries to exploit this vulnerability. Reva continues to hunt down Luke, chasing him into the desert. Cut back to Kenobi, we see him trying to survive by using the Force to stop himself from being buried. And in this moment, the past dialogues from Anakin and Vader begin to haunt him. That is, until he is reminded of Leia and her fearlessness, which inspires him to crawl out of the pit, getting over his past failures, sort of restoring hope in himself. Obi-Wan re-engages with Vader and this time uses the Force to shoot stones at the Dark Lord. This is pretty reminiscent of a Force ability shown in the Old Republic MMO, with one of the Jedi Counselor abilities being the exact same. Kenobi manages to get the upper hand by smashing Vader's circuit, which causes Vader to be winded, and he manages to cut his mask open, revealing Anakin's burnt face within the mask. As Vader begins to talk to Obi-Wan, we can actually hear the voice of Anakin and Vader mixed in together, something which was also done during Ahsoka and Vader's duel in Rebels. Vader tells Kenobi,
"You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did."
Really just cementing how far Anakin has fallen to the dark side, but at the same time alluding to the self-pity that Vader has for himself. And what's really cool about this scene is how they play with the lighting, which begins with the blue glow of Kenobi's blade when he finally sees Anakin, but it all quickly shifts to red when he realizes that Anakin is no more, with Vader being all that remains. Kenobi tells Vader,
"Then my friend is truly dead.
and
Goodbye, Darth."
almost as if he was mocking Vader's Sith title, and this was done to also bring some continuity of why Kenobi calls Vader Darth in A New Hope.
The circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
Only a master of evil, Darth.
It also builds the idea of why Obi-Wan thinks Anakin is dead and why he tells Luke this in A New Hope, something which is challenged later in Return of the Jedi when Luke confronts him about the truth and we get the whole from a certain point of view moment. So this really just cements and justifies why Obi-Wan thinks that Anakin is dead in the original trilogy. Vader then screams for Obi-Wan, really evoking the same scream Maul does when he is looking for Kenobi.
Kenobi!
Interestingly enough, both characters were stuck in their need for vengeance against the old Jedi. Reva manages to trip Luke and Obi-Wan senses the danger. As Luke falls, he gets knocked out, which is where we have the moment where Reva contemplates killing the young boy. Ultimately, she is unable to bring herself to do it, seeing herself in a young Luke, essentially seeing that she is becoming the very thing she swore to destroy, which is Vader. And so, unlike Anakin who chose to kill the younglings, Reva decided to spare Luke, a sort of what-if moment had Anakin decided not to go down his path. Obi-Wan arrives on Tatooine and they find that Reva has decided to spare Luke. Obi-Wan then tells Reva that she can be whoever she chooses to be, demonstrating that he has transitioned into becoming the wise old master, sort of becoming the Alec Guinness side of Obi-Wan by offering these words of wisdom. Reva decides to give up her life as an Inquisitor and Obi-Wan offers a hand lifting her out of the darkness. Obi-Wan says,
Now you are free. Both are.
Showing that they are both free from the burdens of their past, Obi-Wan able to get past his guilt about Anakin's fall, and Reva letting go of her need to take revenge. Vader converses with Palpatine about the situation, and Vader's theme plays and the camera zooms out, showing that Vader continues to be trapped in the same situation and that unlike Kenobi was unable to let go of his past, with the entire room acting almost like a tomb. We go back to Alderaan with Leia wearing Tala's holster, foreshadowing her future as a rebel leader. Leia says,
If I'm going to do this, I'm going to want to change a few things.
essentially becoming committed to her life as a politician. Obi-Wan pays one last visit. Bail tells Obi-Wan that the Empire grows stronger, and Obi-Wan tells him that he will always be there to help. Bail says,
Let's hope that day never comes.
foreshadowing the events of A New Hope with Leia sending a message to Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan finally decides to move out of his cave, symbolically representing his decision to move on. He pays a visit to the Lars estate wearing a new look for the character, the same look that we later see in the comics. Kenobi gets to meet Luke for the first time and says,
Hello there.
which is how Luke knows about Ben in A New Hope. Obi-Wan rides out into what seems to be Beggar's Canyon, but not before finally seeing Qui-Gon's Force Ghost, with Liam Neeson reprising his role. This whole moment also represents that Obi-Wan has ascended to a higher understanding of the Force after he's able to move on from his past. It's also a promise of a new beginning where Qui-Gon will teach Obi-Wan how to be a Force Ghost. So basically what I am saying is that I want Kenobi Season 2 with just the two of them off on another crazy adventure. So come on Disney, give the people what they want. Anyways, that's all the breakdown in this video. I really hope you guys loved this episode because I really did. I think it was a pretty neat conclusion to the series. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to like and subscribe and I will see you in the next one. I am the Lost Acolyte.
And I have spoken.